By the end of this video, you'll learn how to turn Claude CoWork, Claude Code, OpenClaw, or Hermes into a one-stop content generator agent that can plan, create, and post your entire social media campaign. Not just any AI slop, but on-brand images, copywriting, and videos every single time. I'm talking scroll-stopping carousels for Instagram, reels, and ads that actually look like your brand made them. Because here's the thing that most people get wrong. The AI isn't the hard part. Having a good image base and wiring up an agent to the right media generation model is the trick. The media generation engine we're using today is Higgsfield, which has a great capability to keep your brand looking consistent across every frame. The same character, the same style, the same look, whether it's static carousel or a full motion reel. Now, before we get into the tutorial, if you find videos like this useful, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. It really does help a lot. Now let's dive right in. Okay, now the first thing you want to do is connect Higgsfield to your Claude CoWork or your Claude Code or your OpenClaw agent. So I'm going to run through how you can connect that to CoWork, Code, and OpenClaw. Hermes agent and OpenClaw and Claude Code actually are very similar. So with CoWork, it's like any other connect with Claude CoWork. So you want to go over to Customize, and under Connectors, you want to head over to the plus sign over here on the Add Connector. And this is not the Browse Connectors because it's not off the shelf. You're not going to be able to find it if you do the Browse Connectors. So what you want to do instead is go over to Add Custom Connector over here. And under the name, of course, just type in Higgsfield. And the remote MCP server you can grab is from higgsfield.ai/MCP. And I'll share the link down in the description below. But essentially, you want to copy the MCP URL over here, go back to your CoWork and paste the MCP URL and hit add. So once you do that, it's going to be connected. So typically, if it's the first time you're connecting, it's going to ask you to connect. And if you hit that, there's going to be a pop-up browser on where you have your Higgsfield account. Now, full transparency, Higgsfield is a paid platform, so you do need a subscription to be able to use the image and video generation output. So you can easily do that by signing up for one of the plans and connecting it to your Claude CoWork. So once you've authenticated on the browser to allow connection to your Claude CoWork, you essentially will be connected to Higgsfield over here. So what you want to do is probably to add a Higgsfield marketing creative skills. This is something that I created myself with Claude. So what I'll do is I'll share the skill down in the description below. It's essentially just a framework on what's the best practice to use Higgsfield. And this is more geared towards product-based type of stuff. So any shots, any frames, any images, videos that are involving products, it's probably going to do quite well with this skill. But if you're using Claude Code, what you want to do is go over to the CLI section for Claude Code and essentially on your terminal, run the npm install for Higgsfield CLI. Just copy that and put it in the terminal and then copy the auth login because you do need to authenticate as well. So pop-up will show the same way we did. And with OpenClaw, of course, if you have your OpenClaw installed, same thing, you want to install Higgsfield into the same system where your OpenClaw lives and then sign in and then basically connect it with your OpenClaw. But of course, with both Claude Code and OpenClaw, you can actually just ask the agent to actually do the installation for you, right? Instead of you running through that. So for example, just with OpenClaw, I can copy this and go over to my OpenClaw session and on Telegram, right? So Ash Ketchum main agent is my OpenClaw agent. I can ask, hey, can you install install/connect Higgsfields based on this, right? So I can just run that because it has access to my terminal and are able to run terminal commands. It's going to be able to install this for me instead of me running the list of things that Higgsfield have here. I can just do that. And the same thing with Claude Code as well. Okay, so OpenClaw is asking me to complete the login to continue. So I'm just going to hit that and then hit on connect. And then device is authorized. Yeah, just give it a while and then it's going to finish the integration. So yeah, it's as simple as that. Of course, you can run your own commands and connect it to your OpenClaw on the terminal if you like to, or on the VPS. Now, for the purpose of running the actual flow, I'm going to do this on CoWork and not Code and OpenClaw or Hermes. The reason being CoWork is, I think, what most people are using, what most marketers are using, because it's much friendlier to use and probably benefit a lot more people. If you can do it in CoWork, you can obviously do it in OpenClaw and Claude Code. The way it works is the same, right? Because you actually just chat with it and tell it what you want to do directly on Higgsfield. As long as you have the skills installed, it's going to be able to go about it quite efficiently. Now here on CoWork, I've created a fictitious brand called Solve Tumblr. And this is basically generated by Claude. It's completely fictitious. It's just a Tumblr company. And what I have created is just the brand guidelines, the assets, the product images over here. And let's just show in folder over here. So it's got the brand overview, logo identity, color palette, typography, And remember, if you want your AI agent to produce something that is brand consistent, something that follows your copywriting, your style, your brand language, etc., you do need to give it the context, right? So building up the context is super important. And if you want to learn how to do this properly, maybe using Obsidian and Andre Karpathy's Wiki LLM method, I've done a previous video about that, so I'll link it up here and down in the description below for you to check out. But essentially, you want to populate as much information as possible so that when it's generating all these images and videos, it has the right context on how to go about doing it. And of course, if you are already a running business, you would have some product images. Here, I don't have any actual product images, so I actually use Higgsfield to generate some of these product images of the Tumblr, right? So these are how the Tumblr looks like, and cool. So these are the images right here. And so of course the context itself, because it's fictitious, unlike a real business, it's not nearly enough for it to do the most excellent job. But we're going to go ahead with this just to show you how it all comes together. So here under project, what I want to do is just to ask it, again, I've come up with this prompt separately, strategize a social media campaign for Sol, focusing on quality and features of the Tumblr. Based on the strategy, and this is where I'm just invoking the skills, which is Higgsfield, somehow that didn't take, but okay, yeah. So / the skill, create 5 IG carousel images, visuals based on product images, folder, Feel free to create different angles, but it need to be product consistent. So now I'm asking it to create 5 IG carousel images, specifically highlighting the product features, as well as later on creating a cinematic reveal video or reels that I can post on Instagram. So I'm just gonna send it that, and let's see what it comes up with Higgsfield and see what kind of output that we can expect. Okay, so it's coming up with the response or the output of the images for the carousel. So this is the first one, the second one, still by design, and the third one, call for 24 hours, one for 12. I particularly like the little beads of moisture around the tumbler. It makes it look really photorealistic, and one tumbler made well enough to keep for life. Oh, I like that slogan actually. I'm not too sure what that was in the context. No handle, no colorways, no logo to outgrow. And then a close-up shot of the tumbler's lid, which is nice. So since some of the images are not viewable directly on CoWork, sometimes some glitch happens. What you can do is go over to Higgsfield, and when you go to images, it actually shows you what is generated. So you can actually look at it from Higgsfield directly and be able to edit it if you want, and tell it and comment and stuff like that. So that is the carousel part. And of course, if you're happy with it, you can actually tell Claude CoWork or Claude Code or OpenClaw, whatever the case may be, to push it to Instagram to post. And of course, one way you can do that is through another tool called Blotato. So Blotato is a content auto posting tool, and there are a couple of tools out there, but Blotato is the one that I'm currently using. So what it does is it's going to work with Claude to automate the posting on your Instagram, TikTok, social media channels, LinkedIn, X, you name it, they probably have it. So Blotato is a paid tool. In order to connect Blotato to Claude, what you want to do is go over to customize. You want to head over to the plus sign over here, and again, it's not available under the browse connectors. What you want to do is add a custom connector, and under the name, you want to put in Blotato. And for the remote MCP server URL, you want to go over to help.blotato.com/API/MCP. And if you scroll down, you'll see that there's this MCP server URL that you can just copy. But anyway, I will also link it down in the description below so you can easily copy and paste it. And go back to your Claude session and just paste the MCP server URL and hit add. And that's it. It's going to pop up as a connector. And what you want to do is just hit connect. And in the same way as any other tools, it's going to pop up in authorization on the browser that you have logged into Blotato with. So make sure that before you do this, that you're actually signed up and signed in into Blotato and actually have a paid account, right? So Blotato is a paid tool. It is $29 per month currently with a starter tool that will allow you to be able to auto-post your content through Claude without actually accessing Instagram, TikTok, all these social channels yourself. So here I'm going to hit approve access. Okay, so back to Claude, and you'll see that Blotato is now a connected tool. And so just to make sure that it works really well, there's also a skill called Blotato Instagram skill, and I'll also paste this down in the description below. So once you have that connected, what you want to do is make sure on your Blotato settings that you connect it to your social channels. So in this case, you see that I've connected my Instagram account. I did not connect all my other accounts because I'm not particularly too active on these other social channels just yet. But now I have my Instagram connected. What you can do is actually you can go back to Claude and say, hey, can you post the first series of images as carousel via Blotato on my Instagram with the appropriate captions, tags, and best practices. And I'm invoking the Blotato Instagram skill right here. So I'm just going to send it that. before we actually take a look at the video or the reel that's been generated by Higgsfield. So just want to show you guys how this can be an end-to-end image creation, caption writing, the whole campaign planning, and just posting it directly on your Instagram without you basically lifting a finger, right? Now it's asking me for permission on Blotato to list connected accounts. So I'm gonna always allow on that. Okay, so now it looks like it's published it. Here are 5-slide carousel is live on Automate with Mark, and here's the link, okay? So I'm gonna click on that and we'll see that, okay, so this is a post, still by design. The Tumblr looks pretty good. Real steel, honestly finished, double wall, fingerprint resistant. Call for 24 hours, one for 12. And here's a caption, right? We made one Tumblr, double wall, finished like something you'd inherit still by design. I actually really like the copywriting and everything. So no handle, no colorways, no logo. Okay, so these are the images that we've generated, now posted on Instagram without us having actually even leaving Claude CoWork. So if you're taking Blotato out for a spin, you can use my coupon code MARK20 for 20% off on your subscription, just to try it out and see if it's for you. And the best thing is what you can do now is actually you can schedule this if you want. If you like what it's producing and you can trust it to a certain extent, you can even say, can you schedule the image creation, the caption writing for carousels, putting it all together and post it on Instagram every Monday at 9 a.m., right? So you can ask it to do that, and CoWork would actually schedule this, so you don't even need to be part of the process again. So as you can see, it's asking me for permission to schedule a test. So I'm gonna hit schedule, and there we go. A weekly carousel, Monday at 9 a.m. And if you wanna view this on a regular basis, what you can do is go over to your left-hand side tab here and click on schedule. And it is part of the scheduled task over here. So you can see this is active, it's green every Monday at 9 a.m. And you can run now, you don't have to wait till 9 a.m. on Monday, or you can actually deactivate it or delete it even if you don't want it to run. So that's how easily you can schedule an entire workflow, automate the operations that would take a creative team or creative agency to build. So now let's check out the video that is generated for the Tumblr. These are intended to be reels, so that's why the size is 9:16. It's using Cdance 2.0 and it comes with the audio, so let's check it out. Okay, it's pretty simple, but pretty photorealistic. Really like how the way they zoomed in and went from the bottom up angle, as well as being able to show the finishes on the Tumblr itself. And here's another different angle of dolly shot, this time with Clean 3.0. See if that's enough. I actually like the first one better, but let's see. What about this one? Okay, so there's some fonts that are coming up in the video generation because we want the reels to be a little bit more informational, talking about what is the finish, what is the material used for the tumblers, etc. Right? Of course, some of the fonts here are kind of messed up, so it's something that we need to fix. But once you have the video images ready, we can actually tell CoWork directly in the CoWork instance to use Blotato to actually post it on your Instagram together with the captions. And I've gone ahead also generated another one, different angle, different background, and let's see how this one goes. Very photorealistic. Oh, okay, yeah. That bit was not good, of course. But to zoom in, the actual concept and the actual feel of it, I think it's almost there. It's still something that you got to work on, of course. The prompts and the skills are going to help you with that. But just so you know that there are some sharp edges and you need to work around that. But for the most part, I think the images was really well done and almost production grade quality to push it out to your social media channels. So that's it. That's an easy way to connect your Claude CoWork, Claude Code, or OpenClaw to platforms like Higgsfield, and to be able to leverage it as a content generation tool that is on brand, that follows the context of your business, your product, your services. Again, most important thing is to make sure that it has all these access to whatever your brand guidelines is, and then having it be able to create images and videos based on those guidelines. Let me know what your thoughts are about AI-generated content in terms of trying to sell your product and services. And if you find any difficulties in any part of this workflow, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. But as always, if you find videos like these useful, please consider subscribing and hit that like button. It really does help a lot. And I'll see you on the next one.